Okay. All right.
Mr. Knight.
Sybil.
Ariel?
You know, a little tired. Not too bad.
But you're doing well, all things considered.
Well, you know, every day is building. Building is hard work, so it can get a little,
Sure, naturally.
Yeah.
And so, I wish to speak to you on a touching basis. I
Okay.
think a lot of things have changed, and frankly, I think it's important for us to both be on the same page.
Okay.
For the sake of ourselves, but also as well for the sake of the future in regards to training and whatnot.
Okay. I agree.
All right, well, should I start? And so, there are a few points I wish to raise to you.
Mhm.
Now, if I may speak openly.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep. Go right ahead.
Perfect. So, I've been feeling a myriad of ways recently. I've come to different conclusions. I've considered many different things and variables, such as lack of resources, such as perhaps a lack of a system and whatnot too. And maybe even myself being a fault as well. Perhaps I'm not persistent enough. Perhaps I don't demand enough. Perhaps I don't knock on doors and open them too enough. Perhaps I'm at fault here as well. But I've come to one solution, or at least one summary. And that is, I believe it's very necessary, Mr. Knight, that I take control of my own learning, and this perhaps is due to what I believe I have experienced of a lack of progress tracking, a lack of direction giving, a lack of a entirety care to ensure my success. And I think it's necessary that I push myself and have no one else push me, because it appears that no one truly does. Now, this isn't a fault on your part. This is the department attitude as a whole. But again, I draw this back to resources. I draw this back to a lack of capability to perhaps to give attention. Now, I like to say as well, I think there's also a lack of trust in me. And this, perhaps I would believe to lead to doubt. And maybe I considered to myself, maybe this is why no one wants to ensure my success, because perhaps they don't believe that I'll be here in a month or two. Now, people do perhaps desire my success, yes, but only when I insist upon it, I would argue. And I understand persistence is vital in this role. I understand that being an officer, you have to persist. You can't give up and wait and expect. I get that. But I think just a little, persistence or even interest on anyone else's part too would be good to have. Now, at this point, I believe myself to have summarized, as I said, that that's just not a thing, not available to me. So, I'll be doing what I can to ensure my own success. I will assure you of that much, regardless of how much of a doubt there may be for me. And I, not from your part, but just in general, if there is, I can't claim there is, but there might be, and I feel like there is. So I wish to ask you, Mr. Knight, do you still see me as Chief of Staff when my time is due? Do you still have faith? Do you still believe?
So I'm going to speak openly as well. I think you're a very unique case, one that most in the department are not prepared for. Now, what does that mean? That means that the majority of cadets that come through the system wake up in the bathroom or across an abandoned motel. Maybe they got a house. They come to work. They clock in. They do the training. And then they go back home, right? You, however, live a very vibrant life. And that's a good thing. And I want to make that clear. That's a good thing. It's a rare thing. But as a consequence, you have uniquely and relatively more You're gonna be naturally creating more non-PD baggage, if that's the right term, than what people are used to, right? Whether that means, you happen to go to the bar, whether the situation with the hound, whether it's getting taken hostage. Now, I don't want you to look at that as a negative, right? Because it should not be a negative. However, for those who are training what people are used to, in the machine called, the PD training machine, it's like imagine you're working at like a damn, I don't know, cookie factory, right? You're expecting all the cookies to be round, right? Take the cookie, you put it in the fucking thing. All of a sudden, this other cookie comes out, and it's different. They haven't seen before. They don't know what to do with it. So what certain signs that people are looking for, right? Certain scenarios you might be finding you're in, it may be read in a way that's not, people don't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? So I think that in turn leads to questions naturally, right? Like, why'd she have her service pistol? Why her IFAKs over there? Why are the hounds saying she's looking into the faceless? Why is like this, that, and the third? Make sense? So, I don't.
Sure.
And given the fact that the majority, including myself, that are in shift 2, that have to focus on the training and the everyday go that's taking place, it's because we can only dedicate so much percentage of our day to individual things. When this thing comes up, natural human thoughts start going through is like, what's going on here? And because there ain't enough time to figure out what's going on, I think doubts can arise. But I don't think those doubts are something you should be concerned with, right? But what it does mean, as it sounds like you've already kind of recognized, that you have to be self-solving these things, right? Let me be extra careful if I'm going to go out that I do not discuss my police work. Not because of any other reason other than it's not normal and the rest of the department may not be used to it, right? This may pertain to an investigation. Maybe I don't bring up these topics or make things very crystal clear when discussing them. Is that kind of making sense? Like setting guidelines for yourself given your uniqueness.
It makes sense.
Yep.
Just find the way to essentially just offset the doubt, essentially.
Exactly. Right. And not because people don't trust you for who you are. It's that they don't know what to do when that there's someone that's a candidate that's living a unique life. You know what I mean? And over time, that trust will be earned because there's like different levels of trust, right? I don't even know you that well, right? But I feel like I can trust you because I've seen your persistence. But I trust you want to do the right thing, but I don't necessarily trust you're going to do the right thing. Not because of malicious reasons, but because you haven't been trained how to, like, I wouldn't trust you to do a raid, right? As an example, because you haven't been taught yet. You know, does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So, I do understand why you feel the way you do. And I think it was a big eye-opening experience for us because for us to be taking on a new cadet, new experience, we're still trying to figure things out with FTO, making sure there's a good program. But you are right, is that it's going to take some self-learning on your behalf as well, right? I want to do this. I want to learn this. And you find a way to make sure you're being taught those things. Whether it's like you go to someone who's an expert in an area and be like, I want to go ride along. Ask questions, right? Because
100%.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. I would perhaps agree then that my circumstance may be different. And perhaps you said it's not necessarily a problem or a bad thing, but it could be a bad thing. Because like you said, but perhaps just not ready for that sort of thing yet, I guess, right? So perhaps I'm just too early. Perhaps I'm just the wrong person, or perhaps the right person at the wrong time. Could be the case. Maybe I'm doing too much, and if I am, then so be it, right?
I don't
But
think any of these things were that bad. I just don't think you knew that you shouldn't have kept your police equipment.
No, I knew. I just forgot. That's all it was, and I was taking horses.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's not the... And why it seems strange is because most people go to sleep with their equipment, right? You didn't. And so, naturally, when 99% of the force doesn't go off duty, right, you having police equipment seems like it's a bigger deal. And the notion of, like, forgetting seems bigger because it's like, oh, no one else forgets. Well, no one else can forget because they wake up. Like, I wake up around the corner and go clock in. You know what I mean?
I get that, yeah. That's a fair point to make. It just... Even regardless, let's say there is some sort of a sense of lack of belief in myself, and, my success, whatever else, so be it, right?
Yeah.
I'll continue to do what I do regardless.
Yeah.
But I suppose, and I had a conversation with Highwater, actually, about this and my position here at the ECSO, and I think she summarized it very well. Essentially, my training has, of course, been unorthodox, and it's falling apart in a way. I'm kind of just here. And I'm a cadet, but I'm not really a cadet, and well, people aren't really interested, I suppose, but I am, and I want to learn, but people don't really care unless you demand it.
No, that's
right?
I wouldn't say that's fully true. You got to keep in mind, I think some of what you said is true. I think people are very interested in you. They've been talking about you for a minute. We were waiting for you to get good, because get out of the hospital and whatnot. And I wouldn't say it's super unorthodox. I think the reality is, let me keep it simple. If it was simply a matter of you forgetting, then I think your situation was just blown out of proportion because it was a lot that happened at once, right? And given that you were dealing with a concussion and all these other things, we didn't really know what happened to you for like 3 days. You know what I mean?
I understand that.
And then we had to wait for you to get better. And then it was like, okay, what do we do here? For myself, I didn't know till literally this moment that you had simply forgotten. You know what I mean?
That's all it was. I forgot. And, of course, more temperament than just that. And again, I take responsibility. I haven't once just denied that. I did wrong, sure. But that doesn't mean that I'm just a lost cause and I can't try.
No, yeah, of course.
Better.
I think that we're still trying to figure out our PNT, and you just happen to be so early that there's not much more to be said about it. Like, for example, Helen believes that people need an academy first, and I agree to a degree. And the idea is that you're a recruit prior to that. And that means you can ride along and stuff, but you don't get to take out your gun yet and this and that. Because some of the stuff that you're onboarded with, right? You were onboarded in a span of a short number of like 2-3 hours, right? An academy is actually 2 full days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah.
I do think that it could be good to learn foundations and actually learn things thoroughly. One point I made to have is doing these ride-alongs and whatnot. It feels, okay, picture it this way. A ride-along, I learned 1% of processing, I learned 2% of chasing, 3% of how to do tank codes or whatever else, and 6% of RS and PC. Ultimately, I don't learn things 100%. I learn scraps, and I put them together to form something in its entirety. I think learning things thoroughly could be good.
The thing
It doesn't have to be academy, sure, but still.
Well, yeah, and I think academy helps with that. I also don't think academy is the only problem. I think the reality is we don't have a good full training program. And that is because we have don't have the resources or the proper knowledge base to hit the metric that resolves some of the things that you're discussing. right? There's probably a lot of ways that we can improve the program, right? But that would require someone to be even more dedicated and not just one individual, right? And the proof of this, it's not a BCSO thing, it's not an LSPD thing, it's a across the board thing, because right now we are set up to produce ping chasers. We are not set up to produce anything more than that. So,
I think, Mr.
and this is not a fault to any PNT member today. I don't know when it started, right? And the evidence of this is the what I see on the field, right? People don't know what to do when it comes off screen. So,
well, to be honest, I don't even know who the FTOs are. I don't even know what PNT even means. What does it mean again? I don't know.
Personnel and training.
More to know, right? Then I don't know who the FTOs are. I don't know anything at all.
And I think that is something. I think that's something that you going through this process, you might be someone that might have a better solution because you're already thinking about these problems, and you might be able to assist to iterate. Like after you get through this, come back and be like, here's how it could have been done better. We need something that says what this is, right? A lot of these things that you're bringing up, these are legitimate issues, right? But they're issues that ain't going to be solved today, right? Or next week, but could be solved by the next generation, right?
Sure. I think a lot of it comes down to just people taking the initiative and time to just help. Because I understand persistence is one thing, right? I have to want to learn. Yeah, of course I do. But people have to want to teach too.
Yep.
People have to want to shape the next generation, so you say. But I understand where you're coming from too as well.
Yeah.
I think this experience has definitely made me consider the position you brought me in for this too as well. The chief of staff. And in a particular degree, I think that being the one who can face these sort of things in a way, right? Naturally, I consider the solutions. And naturally, I believe that I would like to apply them as soon as I can. Because I see a lot of potential here, Mr. That's my point. I see a lot of potential. And when people just don't seem to really want it in a way, I just think it's a shame because it could be something here. It really, really could be. If I was anyone else, I might have quit by now.
Yep.
And part of that, sure, you can blame myself. Perhaps I haven't done enough. Maybe I've not. I feel like I've done a lot, but perhaps I've not done enough. But there is something here. There really is.
Yep. I think you're gonna do well. You know what I mean? Like I said, just to remain persistent. A lot of these ideas, make note of them, right? Just know that the system's not perfect, right? And you can't expect too many people to want to help you. It's just we're not at that point in time. You know what I mean? Obviously, I do. I think Slow does. I think Romello does. I think Helen does. I think Petrov does. And it's just not everyone is interested or naturally is going to be interested in what they want to do. And for a lot of people, what they want to do isn't necessarily training deputies. That's a culture change that's going to take time to change. Right? But you're coming in at the ground floor right now in what is a renaissance that is going to take weeks and weeks to start altering on different fronts. So
I understand that. That's why I mentioned that. I realize I need to not teach myself, but I need to mentor myself, essentially.
Yeah.
Which
I agree.
Is what it is.
100%. Anything else you want to talk about there, Sybil? I don't. I have to cut it short. It is nonstop for me.
Yes, I had a few questions. You mentioned the ride-alongs would be FTOs and seniors only or command only. That's changed, I assume.
That is where, like I said, the program's still kind of moving. You're going to be considered like a recruit, which means you're going to be taken out by FTOs and company. And we're going to try to get you out as much as we can. You know what I mean?
Perfect. And also as well.
And if you have any questions about it, Like, just ask a sergeant. You know what I mean?
Perfect. Also, as well,
Or
can I work on
FTO or something.
SPD?
No LSPD. No.
I can't do ride-alongs with them or observe them.
Only BCSO. You start going over there, you know, we can't monitor that. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yep.
Okay, I was considering
FTOs,
if
command members, and then once you get it through academy, everything's gonna be clear. You're gonna be given a package with everything.
All right.
You know what I mean?
I understand.
She is wrong though,
And
chat.
my last question was, have you lost faith in the new standard? But
There is no new standard yet, right? That's in development.
Sure. So you haven't lost faith?
No, of course not. Yeah, nothing. There is no such thing as, you know, pressing a button and things get good. It's like going to the gym and expecting you're going to be, you know, lifting 3 times your weight. You know what I mean?
No, sure. I'm just curious as to your mentality, because
No.
all things have changed, and that's all.
No, I don't think so. I think, you know, goals have changed. Oh, shit. Do you have keys on right now?
I do.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I don't think priorities change, right? Plans change. That's how I look at it. Anyways, all right, Sybil. You stay safe, all right?
Here's what I'm tonight.
It's good that she's like, you know. Who the fuck is this guy? Hello?
No.
Oh, I see what's going on here. Sorry, sir. I'm gonna take this.
Probably an applicant.
Wait, what the fuck?